The council chamber of Horizon Hall was larger than any human city hall, floating high above the planet Cressida in the neutral zone. Light from distant stars poured through wide windows, casting long shadows on the floor. Delegates from dozens of species filled the chamber, each one unique and strange to human eyes. Some had shining scales, others had wings, some were tall and thin, others short and round. All of them were leaders, rulers, and diplomats. All of them thought they were the smartest in the galaxy. Eli Ward, the human ambassador, stood at the front of the room. He was tall, with dark hair and a steady voice that seemed calm even when others shouted. Beside him stood Nora Lane, another human delegate, whose sharp eyes never left the faces of the council. Both humans were dressed in simple suits. Nothing flashy. They did not need to show wealth or power. The humans had a presence that could not be ignored. Esteemed leaders, Eli began. We have come here with a warning. A threat is rising in the dark spaces beyond the Trillion sector. It is not just another pirate fleet. It is not a rebellion or a small army. It is a force that could destroy worlds. And it will not stop until it has consumed everything in its path. The chamber was silent for a moment. Then, from the far side, a large alien with 6 arms and green skin snorted. Humans, your stories always grow larger than the facts. We have heard these warnings before. Tell us, what proof do you have that this threat is real? Eli did not flinch. He had expected skepticism. We have observed their movements for years. Small worlds disappearing, fleets never seen before, but always striking in silence. They are patient, cunning, and deadly. If we do not act, many worlds in this room will fall before we even understand what is happening. A bird-like creature with a long beak and shining feathers laughed. And why should we believe humans? You are young in the galaxy. You have not seen centuries like we have. Perhaps your fears are only your own imagination. Nora Lane stepped forward. Her voice was firm. Imagination does not burn cities, destroy fleets, or leave planets lifeless. We are not asking for blind trust. We are asking for caution, for preparation. You may not see them, but the threat is real. We are offering solutions, plans, and strategies. But if you continue to ignore the signs, it will be too late. The chamber erupted in chatter. Aliens whispered, some laughed, others shook their heads. Many had already decided that humans were naive. They thought humans were aggressive when they spoke strongly. They thought humans wanted control. They did not understand that humans were simply honest, and sometimes blunt-eyed and older. Tall alien with pale skin and long fingers, who seemed to have no eyes but always seemed to see everything, finally spoke. Your words are dramatic, human, but our records show nothing unusual. We do not act on fear. We act on evidence. Bring us proof, and we may consider your claims. Ellie's jaw tightened. Proof comes too late. By the time you see the evidence, it may be the last evidence you ever see. That is why we are here now, while there is still time. The council continued to argue. They debated politics, alliances, trade, and power. They did not see the danger that humans saw clearly. Time passed, and humans grew more frustrated, but they did not raise their voices higher. Eli and Nora knew that no amount of shouting would change minds that refused to listen. Finally, Eli took a deep breath and said, "We have done what we can. We have shown you the truth as best we can. If you do not wish to act, we will not force you. But know this, when the danger comes, do not call on us for help. Humans do not follow counsels that ignore reality without waiting for a response." Eli and Nora turned. The other human delegates followed silently. The chamber went quiet. Some aliens stared in disbelief. Others laughed quietly, thinking humans had left because they could not argue. The humans walked away from the council table. Their movements were calm, controlled, confident. Every step they took seemed to carry weight, as if the air itself acknowledged their authority. The council watched them leave, and though they did not understand, a small part of every leader felt something cold and uneasy. It was not fear of humans themselves. It was fear of what humans represented: courage, clarity, and the will to act when others hesitated outside the chamber. Eli and Nora walked down the corridors of Horizon Hall. The hall was quiet, almost empty. Most of the other delegates had already returned to their own quarters, or to the transport ships waiting to carry them home. Eli paused and looked out one of the long windows. The stars shone in silence, vast and unchanging, yet somehow they felt different. Nora noticed his pause. "They will regret it," she said quietly. Her voice had no anger, only certainty. Eli nodded. "Yes, they will learn soon enough. But by then, we may not even be here." The humans returned to their ship, a sleek vessel called the Horizon Runner. It was not large, but it was fast, capable of moving between systems in days instead of weeks. They did not need to impress anyone. They did not need council approval. They had their own way of acting, and when humans decided to act, the galaxy always noticed. As they left the station, the alien leaders in Horizon Hall felt a shift. Some tried to ignore it. Some whispered among themselves. Even those who had dismissed humans as young and reckless could not shake the strange feeling that something significant had changed. Back on the Horizon Runner, the humans began preparing. Sensors scanned distant systems, communication channels were monitored, and strategies were reviewed. Every human crew member knew the silent swarm, even if no one else did. They trained, planned, and waited for the time when action would be needed. Eli walked through the ship, passing the crew. Some were in engineering, adjusting power settings. Others were in the command center, reviewing star maps. Nora joined him in the command room. "Do you think they will survive until we need them?" she asked. "They might," Eli said. "Some will. Many will not. But that is the choice they made when they ignored our warning." The ship passed through the upper atmosphere of Cressida and into open space. Stars streaked past as they jumped into faster-than-light travel. The galaxy was vast, filled with civilizations, wonders, and dangers. But humans had a way of standing out, of showing strength and courage that few could match. And though the council had laughed at them, the humans knew the truth. They were not leaving because they were weak. They were leaving because the galaxy had shown them its weakness. And when humans acted, they acted in a way that no one could ignore. Days passed as the Horizon Runner traveled from one system to another. Eli and Nora communicated with human outposts, checking on supply lines and defensive positions. They spoke with fleet commanders, making sure that every star system where humans had influence would be ready for what was coming. Even as humans moved in silence, the galaxy noticed. Alien spies reported the movements of the Horizon Runner. Rumors spread across colonies. Some wondered why humans had left the council. Some feared that humans were planning retaliation for being dismissed. Others simply laughed, thinking humans had overreacted. But humans did not overreact. They never overreacted. They planned, they prepared, and they waited for the moment when action would be required. And when that moment came, the galaxy would tremble. On the bridge of the Horizon Runner, Eli looked at the stars. "One day," he said, "they will remember this moment. Not because we warned them, but because we acted." Nora nodded. "And when they do, it will be too late to change anything." The ship moved forward, faster than light, carrying humans to distant systems. Two worlds that depended on their quiet strength. And though the Council of Aliens had ignored their warning, the humans did not doubt themselves. They never did. In the vastness of space, in the silence of the stars. The galaxy would soon learn a simple truth. When humans walk away, it is not because they are weak. It is because they are ready. And the stars, if they could feel, might tremble. After the humans walked away from the council table, the galaxy began to change. At first, the ships were small. Trade routes that relied on human coordination began to falter. Convoys of goods arrived late, or not at all. Small worlds that had relied on human-built defense systems found their shields failing. Some colonies went days without communication, and panic began to creep in. On the planet Verida, a farming world at the edge of Alliance space, the local governor, a tall, four-armed alien named Terran, paced in his office. He had been used to humans helping maintain trade and defense, but now those steady hands were gone. His advisors argued in frustration. "Without the humans, our defenses are weak," one said. Our convoys are stranded. Our satellites are failing." Terran stopped pacing and looked out the window at the green fields below. "They left," he said softly. "The humans walked away, and now we feel it." Meanwhile, human fleets moved quietly. They were not showing off. They were not boasting. They were working in silence, preparing lines of defense around key systems. Ships under the command of Adrian Cole, a young but capable fleet captain, patrolled the borders of systems that humans had promised to protect. Every human commander knew the silent swarm could strike at any moment. Adrian's ship, the Starhawk, moved through the empty space lanes. Sensors scanned every asteroid belt, every small moon, every faint signal from distant planets. Adrian stood in the command room, watching the data appear on the screens. His second-in-command, Mira Holt, leaned over a console, tracing a potential route for enemy movement. "Nothing yet," Mira said. "But I feel it. Something is coming." Adrian nodded. "They always come when the galaxy thinks we are busy. Keep scanning. We cannot afford to be caught off guard, even without the Council." Humans worked to stabilize the regions of space they could influence. Supply ships carried food and medicine to colonies where shortages had begun. Engineers repaired broken satellites and starports. They moved quietly, but their presence was felt. Small fleets under human command arrived just in time to deter pirates, who had thought humans would not intervene anymore. Across the galaxy, other species began to notice the absence of humans in politics, but their presence in action. The news spread slowly, through whispers, rumors, and reports from trade vessels. "Humans are still moving," some said. "They are not at the Council, but they are everywhere else, on the industrial planet of Korth." A young engineer named Lena Brown observed the human convoy, arriving to repair a damaged space station. She was human, but she had never been part of the main fleets. Watching her people work with precision and speed, she felt pride. She saw how humans moved differently from others. They did not waste energy on ceremony. They acted, and when they acted, the results were immediate. "The humans always do this," an alien supervisor muttered beside her. "They never ask for praise. They just fix the problem." As the weeks passed, the silent swarm began its advance on the outer systems. Small colonies started disappearing without warning. No alarms, no signals, no hope, only empty stations and destroyed worlds. Panic spread among the alien races that had ignored humans at the Council. For the first time, some began to understand what Eli Ward and Nora Lane had warned. On the planet Duras, a council leader named Velarin called an emergency meeting. "The humans were right," she said, her voice trembling. "We did not listen, and now we see the danger. We need them back. We need them to guide us." But the humans did not respond. They had no intention of returning to the Council. They had acted when others failed to act, and now it was time to wait and watch. They had made their choice, and they had made it clear. Humans would not sit at a table where their voices had no power. Meanwhile, human scouts discovered new patterns in the silent swarm's movements. Fleets appeared suddenly, destroyed a planet or station, and disappeared before anyone could respond. It was a style of attack that relied on fear and confusion. Humans studied every movement, looking for weaknesses. They shared the information with nearby colonies, giving them instructions on how to survive. On the bridge of the flagship Horizon Runner, Eli Ward reviewed the reports. He spoke to Nora Lane over the communication channel. "They are organized," he said, "and patient. They are not like anything we have faced before. But patience can be beaten with preparation." Nora looked at him. "Then we prepare. Every world we can protect, we do. Every fleet we can strengthen, we reinforce. We do what the Council should have done." Adrian Cole led a fleet to the outer rim where small human-friendly colonies waited. The silent swarm attacked a minor starport on one world. The humans arrived in time to block the attack. They did not destroy the swarm, but they slowed it, saved lives, and proved that humans were always one step ahead. In the meantime, alien leaders grew frustrated. Many had relied on the humans before, but now they had to act alone. Some tried to send envoys to humans, asking for assistance. Others tried to form coalitions to fight the swarm. All attempts were to slow. Humans were already in motion, already protecting where they could. On one remote colony, a young alien girl named Mira, who had heard stories about humans, watched as human engineers repaired her world's energy grid. She asked her father, "Why did they help us even though we ignored them?" Her father sighed. "Humans act because they know it is the right thing, not because of thanks or recognition." That is something most of us cannot understand. Weeks turned into months. The silent swarm continued to destroy unprotected colonies, moving in silence and shadow. Every time an alien fleet thought they could stop them, humans were already in the path. They did not seek glory. They did not demand praise. They acted quietly, efficiently, and effectively. Reports of human action spread across the galaxy. Some alien leaders felt embarrassed for doubting humans. Some wondered what else they had missed by ignoring warnings. And some quietly feared what humans might do if they were ever fully angered. Back on the Horizon Runner, Eli Ward and Nora Lane discussed strategy. "We cannot stop everywhere at once," Eli said. "But we can slow them. We can give the galaxy a chance to survive." Nora nodded. "We have done more than the Council could have done. We have done what is necessary. That is all that matters." Adrian Cole returned from a mission to reinforce a vulnerable trade system. "They tried to take the starport at Varos," he reported. "We saved it. Lives saved. No council needed, no debate. Just action." Eli smiled faintly. "Exactly. That is the human way. We act when it counts, even as humans move quietly through the galaxy." The silent swarm grew bolder. They attacked larger systems now, testing defenses, probing weaknesses. But every time they moved, humans were there. They appeared like shadows, precise and deadly when needed, then vanished without a trace. Across the galaxy, whispers began. Not all were favorable. Some alien species muttered that humans were becoming too powerful, that their absence from the Council meant they were outside control. But others began to hope that humans would protect them, even if no one else would. On a small, icy moon, Lena Brown and a squad of engineers worked to rebuild a communications array that the swarm had destroyed. They moved quickly, efficiently, and without complaint. Every human crew member seemed to know their role, their purpose. The aliens watching could not help but admire the precision, the focus, the courage. Mira Holt stood beside Lena. "Do you think they will come back to the Council?" she asked. Lena shook her head. "Not until the galaxy learns to listen. Humans do not go back to tables that ignore them. They act, and they wait." That is enough. As the months passed, the humans' actions became legendary. Small colonies began to rely on human fleets for survival, even if their leaders could not fully understand it. Trade resumed along routes humans had secured. Lives were saved. Systems stabilized, all without asking for power, recognition, or votes in a council. Eli Ward looked at the galaxy as the Horizon Runner moved through space. "We have done what we can," he said. "Now we wait for the moment when they will finally see what humans are capable of." Nora Lane nodded. "And when that moment comes, they will remember this time. They will remember that humans walked away, and yet still acted when it mattered most." The galaxy, unaware of the full extent of human preparation, began to feel a strange shift. Systems that once thought themselves independent suddenly realized how much they relied on human action. Fear, respect, and hope all mixed together as humans quietly shaped events from the shadows. The silent swarm had not yet met the full force of human might, but they would. And when they did, every world would see why the galaxy trembled when humans walked away. And though the Council of Alien Leaders had ignored the warnings, humans did not mind. They had acted. They had saved lives. They had proven that courage, preparation, and honesty mattered more than politics, debates, or pride. In the dark spaces beyond the known systems, humans moved like shadows of certainty. The galaxy was chaotic, unpredictable, and dangerous. But humans had a way of turning chaos into order, danger into opportunity, and doubt into action. And the stars, silent and distant, seemed to watch as humans quietly reshaped the galaxy. The quiet of space had always been a comfort to humans, but now it carried tension. Reports from distant colonies were coming faster than ever. Systems were under attack. Worlds that humans had tried to warn the Council about were falling into shadow. The silent swarm had begun its assault in earnest. Eli Ward stood on the bridge of the Horizon Runner, looking at the holographic map of the outer systems. Red markers flashed, marking worlds under attack. He felt no panic, only determination. "They are moving faster than before," he said. "Every moment counts. We have to reach these worlds before it is too late." Nora Lane studied the fleet reports beside him. "We cannot be everywhere at once," she said. "But we can make the places we are stronger. We can give the galaxy a fighting chance." Adrian Cole, commanding a squadron of human ships, flew through the system of Trellis, a trade hub under siege. Sensors detected the silent swarm approaching in tight formations, ships moving without sound. "Without warning. Prepare for contact," Adrian said. His crew moved quickly, taking positions, adjusting shields, and preparing weapons. Humans never panicked. They moved with a calm precision that aliens could not understand. The swarm attacked Trellis with sudden speed. Their first strike disabled orbital defenses. Then smaller craft moved to strike ground targets. The humans responded immediately. Starhawk and accompanying vessels blocked the swarm's advance, firing energy beams with careful accuracy. The attacks were fast, coordinated, and deadly. Within hours, the swarm had suffered its first defeat at the hands of humans in this region. On a nearby colony, Lena Brown watched human engineers repair power stations damaged in the initial assault. Aliens, who had fled or hid during the attack, looked on in awe. "They are saving us," one whispered. "Even though we ignored them, they are still here." Mira Holt, supervising the repairs, nodded. "Humans always act when it counts. That is our way. We do not wait for councils or permission. We act, and we protect." Back on Horizon Runner, Eli received urgent reports from other systems. The swarm was moving in multiple directions, testing defenses, looking for weaknesses. Some worlds had no chance without human intervention. "Split the fleets," Eli ordered. "Send Adrian with one squadron to Varos. Mira, take another to Korath. I will oversee reinforcement at key systems here. We will slow them wherever we can." The humans moved with speed that no other species could match. Where alien fleets might debate tactics for hours, humans acted in minutes. Every system they reached was strengthened, every colony given hope, every fleet coordinated with precision. Meanwhile, the Council on Horizon Hull grew frantic. Leaders who had mocked humans were now desperate. "Call them back," shouted a winged leader from the Trillian sector. "They alone can save our worlds." But humans did not answer. They had walked away from the table for a reason. They had warned the Council. Now it was time to act, not to argue. Humans had never depended on approval to do what was right. At Varos, Adrian Cole's squadron arrived to find the swarm already striking. Orbital stations were damaged, and civilians fled in panic. Adrian's ships formed a defensive ring around the planet. "Hold the line," he ordered. The squadron responded without hesitation. Humans fought with a methodical precision that amazed the aliens observing. They did not waste firepower or energy. Every movement had purpose. Every decision had result. The swarm attacked in waves. They were strong, coordinated, and relentless. But humans were faster. Their shields adjusted before attacks landed. Their weapons found weak points in the enemy ships almost instantly. Within hours, the first swarm fleet had been broken, retreating into the darkness of space. On the surface, engineers and colonists rebuilt defenses. Lena Brown and her team worked day and night, guided by human strategy. "We have to be ready," she said. "They could come back. Humans will help, but we must do what we can to." As the battle continued, aliens who had previously mocked humans began to understand something they had never realized. Humans were not just clever or strong. They were relentless, adaptive, and willing to sacrifice for what was right. They acted not for power, not for glory, not for politics. They acted because it mattered. On Korath, Mira Holt's fleet intercepted another wave of the swarm. Smaller ships darted between moons, trying to strike at mining colonies. Mira's squadron moved with perfect timing, blocking each attack. Civilian vessels escaped safely. Colony defenses were restored, and the swarm was pushed back once more. Meanwhile, in the council chambers of Horizon Hall, leaders argued and panicked. "They are doing what we should have done," one cried. "Why did we not listen?" Others were silent. They watched the reports on their screens, showing human fleet-saving system after system. The truth became clear. The humans had not only been right, they were essential. And yet, humans were not returning to the table. They did not seek recognition. They acted because they must. Back on Horizon, Runner, Eli, and Nora discussed the progress. "We are slowing them," Eli said. "But the swarm will not stop. They are patient, and they will test every weakness," Nora nodded. "Then we keep moving. Every system we protect is a victory. Every life saved is proof that humans matter in this galaxy." In the Trillion sector, the swarm regrouped after their defeat. Their leader, a shadowy figure known only as Varkos, watched the human movements carefully. "These humans," Varkos said, voice like grinding metal, "they are not like the others. They think differently. They act faster. They fight smarter. This will require more than simple fleets." The humans, meanwhile, did not wait for threats to become overwhelming. They anticipated, they moved ahead, and they coordinated. Colonies that had no defenses were guided to build them. Trade routes were secured. Supply ships moved under human protection. Even as humans acted, rumors spread across the galaxy. Some whispered fearfully, "Humans are too strong. They move outside the councils. What else could they do?" Others whispered hope. "If humans are here, perhaps we can survive." On the icy moon of Riller, Lena Brown observed a human fleet arrive to stabilize the local communications network. She turned to the aliens watching. "They are not here for reward. They are here because it is right. That is what makes humans different." Hours later, the swarm attacked a cluster of outer systems simultaneously. Adrian Cole's fleet split to cover multiple targets. His ships moved in perfect harmony, each knowing the position and strategy of the others without needing lengthy communication. The swarm thought they could overwhelm the humans with numbers. They were wrong. At Varos, civilian casualties were minimal. Systems were stabilized. Defense grids were repaired faster than anyone expected. The swarm withdrew, stunned at how efficiently humans had fought. "They are everywhere at once," one alien officer said. "And still, they are calm. How do they do this?" Eli Ward observed all reports from the Horizon Runner. "It is not technology alone," he said to Nora Lane. "It is the way humans think. We plan, adapt, and act decisively. That is why the galaxy underestimates us, and that is why we survive where others fail." Meanwhile, the council continued to debate. Alien leaders sent urgent messages begging humans to return, to rejoin the political table, to lend their authority to the Alliance. But humans ignored the requests. They did not fight for influence. They fought for life. In a quiet moment on Horizon Runner, Nora looked at Eli. "Do you think they understand yet?" she asked. Eli shook his head. "Some will. Some never will. That does not matter. What matters is that we act, and we protect. That is enough." Even as the silent swarm adapted and grew more aggressive, humans were always a step ahead. Colonies that had no chance without human guidance now had a chance. Fleets that would have been destroyed survived. The galaxy began to see the pattern. Humans do not rely on debate or approval. Humans rely on action, and that action changes everything. Stories began to spread among the alien races. Tales of human courage, strategy, and relentless action traveled faster than any fleet. Small colonies whispered, "The humans saved us." Even when we ignored them, they acted. The swarm, sensing resistance it could not break, paused. For the first time, their movements became cautious. They had learned that humans were not predictable. Humans were not bound by politics or fear. Humans acted with purpose and precision on a distant world. Mira Holt watched as her squadron prepared for the next wave. "They think they can challenge us," she said. "They will learn the hard way. We do not wait. We act." Adrian Cole returned from a scouting mission. "Another attack avoided," he reported. "No casualties. The humans are everywhere, moving faster than they can predict." The swarm cannot adapt to us. Eli Ward looked at the reports again. The galaxy is beginning to see it, he said. Even those who ignored us at the council are noticing. Humans do not need tables, debates, or votes. Humans act, and the universe responds. Nora Lane smiled faintly. And when the full force of the swarm meets us, they will remember this moment. They will remember that humans walked away, and yet they still shaped the galaxy in silence. The stars shone quietly around Horizon Runner as it moved through the void. The silent swarm would strike again. They would test human defenses, challenge fleets, and threaten colonies. But humans were ready. Humans had already proven that action mattered more than politics. They had already shown that courage and preparation could change the fate of the galaxy.